Hey guys, welcome to Resident Lynx, and welcome to this new video. I didn't think I was going to make any of these videos again because I don't get that much, feedback on these videos, but I'll try it one more time and see if you guys like. I'm hoping you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That would really, really help me. But this video is about my favorite actor of all time, which is Al Pacino. This is my top 10 favorite movies with him. So hopefully I don't mess up, and let's get going. Let's get started. So number one is Serpico. Now Serpico is a good movie. He played. This movie was made back in 1973. He plays a cop, undercover cop. It's basically based on a true story because this guy was actually called Serpico, and he was a cop. He was an undercover cop. So basically, in the movie, he finds out that there's corrupted cops in the world. So he tries to stop it, and it's basically what the movie's about. Is that throughout the whole entire movie, he's trying to stop these cops from being corrupt, and from taking money from sources that they're not supposed to take money from. So he tries to fight it the best he can, and he fails at it sometimes. But then they ask him, well, maybe you can get transported into a different precinct, and he says, no, I just want this to be over. And he was actually one of the first police officers to actually, go undercover, deep undercover. Because in this movie, he grows a beard out, long hair. He ends up wearing regular wear, like he's undercover basically. And the other cops are like, "Why are you doing that for?" Because they're not used to that kind of way of doing things, because the way they have always been doing it is their way. Suits or dressy shirts, like a regular suit. You know what I mean? I just gotta check out this movie. It's actually a really good movie with him. So let's go on to number 9, Sea of Love. Now this movie, he's also a cop, and he's trying to find his killer. I think, cause I kind of haven't watched this movie in a while, so it's kind of like the knowledge for this movie has kind of like escaped me a little bit. But he's a cop, and he falls in love with this woman. I don't think she's the killer. I think he falls in love with her though, and he tries to find the killer, and the killer always puts on the song called "Sea of Love." Come with me, my love. I'm not gonna sing it, but it's actually a really good movie. Like I said, some of the plot has escaped me. I apologize for that. Some of these movies I haven't seen in a while. I just know they're really good because when I have watched them, I watched them multiple times. This is one of the movies I've seen multiple times in multiple viewings. Way back when I would say probably in the middle of 2000s when I last watched this movie, which is a while. That's why I can't remember some of the plot, but you guys gotta check this one out. This is number 9, obviously, and we'll go to number 8. This is gonna be a little bit quicker video, like more than usual. It's not because I want it to be quick. It's because like I said, some of the plot escapes me on some of these movies, and I apologize. But Carlito's Way is number 8. Carlito, he plays this guy named Carlito, obviously, because the name's called Carlito. And this movie was made in 1997. No, sorry, 1993. And a year after I was born, which is funny. So he plays this guy that used to be a hitman. I don't know exactly. I think maybe for a mob. I can't. I don't remember specifically, but I know that Sean Penn plays in this movie, and John Leguizamo, which John Leguizamo from Ice Age, as what's that guy's name? I can't remember his name. It's been a while since I watched Ice Age too. But he also falls in love with another girl. He gets out of prison in the beginning, and he has a lawyer, which is played by Sean Penn. And he ends up getting in trouble and trying to find a way to get one last pay so he can go and live his life. And I think at the end he fails, and I think he ends up dying. I think he ends up getting shot. But it's also a really good movie with him. Of all these movies, I would 100% say go out and rent or buy, because Al Pacino is like freaking great. And then number 7 is gonna be Donnie Brasco, which this movie was made in 1997. Um, Donnie Brasco has a young Johnny Depp in it. Well, Johnny Depp, I think, is one of the greats. I really do. And I don't care about what's happening lately with him and his ex. I'm not going to talk about that here. But Johnny Depp with Al Pacino is a really good pair. I mean, it's, like I said, this has been a long time since I've seen this one too, but I remember some of the plot. So, so Johnny Depp plays Donnie Brasco, and he goes undercover because he's an undercover police officer, and he ends up going with this this mafia group that the Al Pacino's a part of, which is Lefty. I think his name is Lefty in the movie, which is surprising that I still remember the names. And Lefty is a washed up hitman. Like, he doesn't really do much anymore, and nobody really respects him anymore because he's like the old man in the group. Like, yeah, he's whatever. But then he ends up like having this friendship with Johnny Depp's character, and after a while, I think Johnny Depp really respects this guy and doesn't want him to like die or anything like that, or doesn't want anything to do with happen to him. And he's still a police officer, and it's such a good movie. Johnny Depp's young. I think this is after his role as Edward Scissorhands, obviously, but I mean it's still the '90s, so he's still young. This is before his Pirates of the Caribbean days. But that's number 7. Number 6 is Two for the Money, which came out in 2005. Now this movie has a young Matthew McConaughey in it. I don't know how young he was, but he had to have been still in his 20s, Matthew McConaughey. I know that Matthew McConaughey in the movie, his character, has this ability to predict who's gonna win, like sports teams. Like, oh, that team's gonna win, and he ends up like predicting a lot of it, and he ends up getting a lot of it right. So Al Pacino has this group of people that I can't remember what happens, how they actually come together. Al Pacino and Matthew McConaughey, but I know they do, and he predicts. He become like they get a lot of money because he predicts so much teams. He gets most of them right, and ends up falling in love with, I think, Al Pacino's girlfriend. I don't think it's his wife. And Al Pacino knows after a while, and start to have a strain on their friendship because, I mean, his girlfriend's cheating on him with Matthew McConaughey's character, and after a while, Matthew McConaughey also has a hard time predicting the winners, so he ends up like failing at predicting winners. So I can't remember the ending, but it's also another good movie. With if you like Matthew McConaughey, this is one of them that I would watch. I don't really care for sports movies, but this one actually has a really good plot and and line. You know what I mean? It's a really good movie, and I'll also pick it up. The next one for number 5 is the Panic in Needle Park, which is one of Al Pacino's first roles. It was back in 1971. Now this movie, Al plays a crackhead. I think he's deep into drugs, like needles. Yeah, I would say crack, right? Needles, crack. So he ends up befriending this girl that also likes using crack. By the end, he ends up falling in love with her, and I don't know majority of the film because, half of these movies I haven't even seen in years. Actually, all of them I haven't seen in years. That's hard to say, but I love Al Pacino so much, and he's my favorite actor of all time. So I wanted to make a movie. Not a movie. I wanted to make a video on him and the other movies I love with him in. That's why I made this list, and that's why I also made some bullet points for me to actually talk. Because I get stumped really easy when I make videos and I don't mean to. But anyway, walking in the park, he ends up falling in love, like I said, with this girl, and he ends up using drugs. He almost ODs on heroin, but he ends up recovering, and he finds out that his girlfriend OD'd and she actually died. She actually did die. So, I mean, it's a tragic story, but come on, if you're doing crack, obviously, that's not going to be good. But that's my number 5. My number 4 is Dog Day Afternoon. Now, this movie was made back in 1975, sorry, and it's about he's like a bank robber or some kind of robber. I don't know exactly. I think it was a bank. But this movie is like everybody, whenever they talk about Al Pacino, well, not everybody, but majority of people, when they talk about Al Pacino, this is one of the favorite roles, other than other roles that are going to be lower on the list. But he ends up messing up, and him and his friend, Al Pacino in this movie is gay. Nothing against that, but he's gay in this movie. He has a husband or fiance or boyfriend at home. He's doing this for because he wants to run away with him or something like that because he needs the money. And he has a friend that's with him that this guy also plays in a movie that's going to be lower on this list. But they end up failing, and they end up stuff at the end ends up happening. It's actually a really good movie. There's a scene that Al Pacino has where he goes, "Attica, Attica!" He's like running down the street yelling, "Attica!" Like, he's such a good actor. I mean, literally, I don't know why other people don't really care for him that much, or don't put him at like their top 10 favorite actors of all time. Because this guy, when he goes for a role, he literally invests his whole entire life. Like, for instance, with Serpico, he literally studied this guy inside and out to make sure he did this guy good. But I mean, Dog Day Afternoon is one of his best. That's why it's in 4th place on this list. Number 3 is Justice for All, and Justice for All, which is made back in 1979. This movie, he plays a lawyer, and he has a friend that's also a lawyer, and his friend had this guy. He was a convicted serial killer, and this guy is tried for a murder. So this guy is such a good lawyer that he actually lets him off, as in, like, he actually helps him out of this murder case, and the guy that helps him, the lawyer, ends up going crazy. But Al Pacino's character, at the same time, is trying to get this other guy off. Pause. And he fails at it because he finds out that the justice system is rigged and it's not fair to people. And he finds out that, well, even though this guy is wrongly convicted, doesn't mean anything. And he tries his best to get this guy off. Well, like I said, pause. And he, like I said before, he fails. But at the end, he ends up arguing with the judge. Like, throughout the movie, he gets thrown in jail like a couple times. Because he's not that. He's kind of like one of those lawyers that don't give a crap, you know. It's a good movie. It's back in, like I said, 1979. This movie was made. This is number 3 on my list, so I watched it multiple times. Another long movie. Majority of these movies are long, but like I said, it's a really good movie. All these movies are good. Number 2 on my list is Scarface. Now, what can I say about Scarface? This movie was made back in 1983. I love Scarface so much, and if it wasn't for the one below it, this probably would have been my first pick on the list. But this movie is like a remake, but it's better than the remake. So the original movie was made in black and white, and is I think maybe made in 1930s, maybe 40s. I don't know exactly what time era that the first one was made, but it was more of a mafia kind of type movie, and I think it was also made off of the actual guy, which is what's his name? That famous guy. For some reason, his name escapes me right now, and I apologize for that. But he's famous for Al Capone. I think it was also made off of that guy. But this one is a whole new thing, like a drug dealing thing. And Al Pacino plays a guy that's Tony Montana, who comes from Cuba and wants to make something of himself from in the States, in the United States. Um, but in order to do that, you have to take out this guy in the beginning of the movie, and then they have to get involved with these people that are no good, drug dealers. And he ends up meeting Michelle Pfeiffer, which is a really, really good, great actress back then. I have to say that she's one of my favorite actresses of all time. I loved her in a lot of movies, which I probably will talk about her later on. If you guys like this movie, if you guys like this, and then I'll make more. But she plays also another person that's in the drugs because she's married to another drug dealer. So Al Pacino ends up killing him and ends up marrying her, which is funny. Well, not funny, but so he ends up marrying her because I think he wanted to put a hit out on him or something like that. So he ends up becoming this huge drug lord, but ends up regretting, not regretting his decisions, but you know, when you're up at a high like that and you end up losing people, and he ends up killing his friend because his friend was involved with his sister, and the whole thing was just sad, really, because it's, I don't know, and he ends up dying at the end because he ends up messing up, and he did. Well, what happens is this guy wanted him to kill this little kid, well, this family, but he's like, I'll kill whoever you want me to kill, but I will not kill a kid. So the guy is like, okay then. So he ends up telling this guy, and the guy ends up coming after him and then sending people after him and then killing him. But he had the heart, because anybody else would have ended up killing that kid and that family. But it's one of my favorite freaking movies of all time, really. I have to say, if I had to put this one in other than the other one, I would put this one in more. But doesn't mean that I wouldn't like the other one more, because I do like the other one more. I'm just telling you guys what I would put in most likely, other than the first one that's coming up. But as for one is The Godfather Part 1. Obviously, my favorite freaking movie with Al Pacino. My favorite movie of all time with him. 1972 is when it came out, which is a long freaking time ago. But in The Godfather, he plays a young guy, a young man coming from the military, and his dad doesn't want him to be a part of what he's a part of, which is the mafia. And so his family ends up dying. His brother ends up getting shot multiple times by these other mafia guys because he ends up beating the crap out of this guy that had something to do with his sister getting hurt really badly. Well, James Caan's character, and he ends up getting shot multiple times, and then a couple other things happen. The father ends up, which was played really great from Marlon Brando. He ends up getting shot a couple times, but he ends up surviving to the ending, and so it's basically up to him to do something, about it. So he ends up going after these guys. He ends up going after this like undercover cop. He ends up going after these other guys that had something to do with it, and and then the second one after this, the second movie after this, builds on top of this movie. And I would have put the second one also on this list, but I didn't want to put two Godfathers in a row. So instead, I had a variety of Al Pacino movies other than the first and second um, Godfathers. But the first one, it's basically him not wanting to be a part of the mafia, and his dad not wanting to be a part of it, but he ended up being a part of it anyway because he had no choice. And at the end of the movie, it shows that he's going to be the next Don of New York, and his dad ends up dying, um, not from the gunshots, but by a heart attack. And so, his brother, he has one brother and one sister still alive, and ends up falling in love with this woman, ends up having kids with her, and it builds more upon that. And the second one, his brother that ended up getting shot multiple times, James Caan's character, ends up sleeping with different women like here and there, and he gets, like I said, he gets shot multiple times, and that's sad. He has another brother that's adopted, which is played really good by another actor. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't remember his name. But he's adopted, but he's a lawyer, and so he's always good at getting them out of trouble. It's such a really good movie. All these movies on this list, Al Pacino hands down is my favorite actor of all time. He can play serious. He can play anything you want him to play. I thought it'd be funny if I would have done like. I thought it'd be funny if I did like the Adam Sandler movie, Jack and Jill, with him. Oh, that's one of my favorite movies. I put it on the list. No, it's not one of my favorite movies at all. It's not even one of my favorite freaking Adam Sandler movies. It's actually one of my most hated Adam Sandler movies. I did like it in the beginning when I first seen it, but no, not anymore. But I hope you guys like this new video, and maybe I'll do more of these, like top 10 lists, or maybe more movie reviews. Just have to tell me down below in comments what you guys want to see, if you guys like these, and also please leave a like down below that tells me if you guys like it, and also subscribe because I'm trying to make it to 100 subscribers, and I'm hoping you guys like these new videos. If you guys don't, please tell me. I'll just make video games, like playing video games. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. This is Resident Lynx, and also stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys next time.